So people know how that Trump said that he didn't know if it would be good for the country to know about what happened to JFK. This would maybe be why. Vatican Assassins. This author Eric John Phelps. According to Phelps, comments of which are supported by his vast in-depth research into his religious order and militia group, the office of Jesuit Father General, along with his black-robed minions, not only controls the Vatican, but pretty much everything, including all the world's intelligence agencies, key cusp groups and major secret societies, and most intriguing of all, organized religion. Ultimately, we are dealing with Luciferians who wield their worldly influence over the earth from the capstone of the temporal pyramid. Although Phelps hints at and acknowledges a metaphysical component to this grand conspiracy, that is, a spiritually dark, non-human force operating from behind the curtain, for the most part, the information he presents in this is grounded with woo speak kept to a bare minimum. Whether discussing vaccinations, and it goes on and on to all the different, the geopolitics, priesthoods, the money system, Phelps, gun control, Phelps' work points to the Jesuits as the predominant conspirators running the show. Well, I would totally believe that after my experience with a Jesuit nurse and her attitude and just no moral compass. That seems to be their track record, and they get into those big positions. In this, Phelps refers to the United States as a Jesuit empire and says of organized religion that its various governing bodies are ultimately under the control of high-level Freemasons who in turn are subject to the Jesuits. That's what I've read too, is that they're all controlled by the Jesuits. In this, Phelps refers to the United States as a Jesuit empire, as I said, who turn their subjects who in turn turn to the Jesuits, being the primary player, and that Luciferians are covertly manipulating affairs using this religious ideological pawn of theirs in their quest for world domination. Apparently, the rebuilding of Solomon's temple in Jerusalem will play a significant part in this master plan of theirs, in which it is then thought the Black Pope will openly emerge and take his seat. Yes, a lot of this stuff I think is being orchestrated too, because they've told people it's about building the third temple. And in the mainstream media controlled by the Knights of Malta, will the U.S. one day be invaded militarily by the Chinese and/or Islamists? Are the Mossad, M15, M16, CIA all under the control of the Vatican? Are heads of state who appear adversarial actually in cahoots despite their public persona? Are the courts, at least those within the U.S., generally controlled by Shriner Freemasons? These questions, among others, are considered in this rather obscure yet must-see. There's a video about this, so you can look it up. But then it also goes on to say, or not this, there's another book. I came onto this book because of this other book. Operation Gladio. The unholy alliance between the Vatican, the CIA, and the Mafia. This is a different author, obviously Paul Williams. This came out in 2018, but there's a lot of confirmation behind this one, as in my opinion, the other one as well. Operation Gladio was the code name for a clandestine stay-behind operations of armed resistance that were organized by the Western Union and subsequently by NATO, formed in 1949, and by the CIA, established in 1947, in collaboration with several European intelligence agencies during the Cold War. Although Gladio specifically refers to the Italian branch of the NATO stay-behind organizations, Operation Gladio is used as an informal name for all of them. Stay-behind operations were prepared in many NATO countries and in some neutral countries. According to several Western European researchers, the operation involved the use of assassination, psychological warfare, and false flag operations to delegitimize left-wing parties in Western European countries, and even went so far as to support anti-communist militias and right-wing terrorism as they tortured communists and assassinated them, such as Eduardo Mondlane in 1969. The United States State Department of State rejected the view that they supported terrorists and maintained that the operation served only to resist a potential invasion of Western European countries by the Soviet Union. It seems to me that in the quest to stamp out communists, the very people trying to stamp it out become communists. Okay, left right doesn't matter. That seems to be, again, it's the road. The road to hell is always paved with good intentions. Also regarding this is either for this book. It says it alleges that since the end of World War II, the Vatican Bank has been laundering money for black ops involving the mafia, the CIA, and international drug smuggling. Yeah, this book goes into it, how they flooded the hood, the black areas, like in poor communities in America, with heroin back in the day, getting Americans hooked on that. And it's all, I mean, this would explain a lot. This just explains so much. It's, the son of perdition. It's a secret alliance forged at the close of World War II. It seems like that's when so many things went wrong, but it says here, this disturbing expose describes a secret alliance forged at the close of World War II by the CIA, the Sicilian and U.S. mafias, and the Vatican to thwart the possibility of a communist invasion of Europe. Paul Williams, who's the author, presents evidence suggesting the existence of stay-behind units in many European countries consisting of 5,000 to 15,000 military operatives. According to the author's research, the initial funding of these guerrilla armies came from the sale of large stocks of SS morphine that had been smuggled out of Germany and Italy, and of bogus British banknotes that had been produced in concentration camps by skilled counterfeiters. As the Cold War intensified, the units were used not only to ward off possible invaders, but also to thwart the rise of left-wing movements in South America and NATO-based countries by terror attacks. William argues that Operation Gladio soon gave rise to the toppling of governments, wholesale genocide, the formation of death squads, financial scandals on a grand scale, the creation of the Mujahideen, an international narcotics network, and most recently, the ascendancy of George Mario Bergoglio, a Jesuit cleric with strong ties to Operation Condor, which was an outgrowth of Operation Gladio in Argentina, as Pope Francis I. So, this was learned about, the public learns the truth about Gladio. Italian Prime Minister, as you can see there, you can read, was the first European leader to admit the existence of Operation Gladio and insisted that similar groups existed in neighboring countries. So it's the Jesuits, it's not the Jews, it's not AIPAC, it's the Jesuits, it's the Vatican, it's the son of perdition. Operation Gladio's post-war origins. During the Second World War, the British Special Forces Operations Executive carried out clandestine missions to support resistance. Yeah, it's always the same thing. It's, we're going to have to do this because of communism. And this was this Saint Gallen group. They were a secret group as well. See who they are? The Pharisees. The modern day Pharisees. So it likely would be hard for Americans to know that really was the grand major first church, that, as they want to say, but not of Christ, that was involved in the assassination of Kennedy.